So today we got two amazing models. Finally, we got the Gemini 3 model. And today, just one day after dropping Gemini 3, in a typical OpenAI move, they just drop the GPT 5.1 Pro one day after Gemini 3. Is it intentional? I don't know, you tell me. So, not to get confused, today I'm not comparing Gemini 3 with GPT 5.1 Pro. It's just testing both models and giving an impression on both. By no means we can compare in a fair manner Gemini 3 to GPT 5.1 Pro. The highest end model on the Gemini side that has the dedicated compute similar to the Pro model on OpenAI is something I am not subscribed to. I cannot pay $500 to actually test both together. I am a Pro member on OpenAI. So the intention here is just to show you how good Gemini 3 is and then really how much better a Pro model like GPT 5.1 by OpenAI can be. Hope you enjoy the episode and do not forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And with this, let's get started.
Subscribe to Daddy's channel, The Mic.
So I will give you the links for all of these pages where they announce all of the products. So it's not only Gemini 3. They have dropped, for example, Google Anti-Gravity, which is Google's own IDE. So it's a fork, I think, from VS Code as usual, but this is dedicated for them and their models. And people are talking that the improvement in the Gemini 3 ability to code in this environment is way better than using it in Cursor or VS Code. Again, that's opinions of people I saw online. But this is now a new product and their own IDE. And you can read all about it. Actually, I'm gonna just highlight some of the things that are important directly into their blog. So if we go to their blog, here you have more details, more depth about the announcement. So here they announced Gemini 3. And basically they tell you that the Gemini 3 app surpasses 650 million users per month and more than 70% of our cloud customers, meaning Google's customers obviously, use our AI. So 13 million developers have built with our generative models. So basically big usage. They, I think, want to compare themselves to OpenAI usage, which is the number one in the AI world today. And then they're talking about their capability, their infrastructure. Again, we all know that Google is a giant and it is really intuitive that we expect the best out of them. For a long time they were asleep, now they're way awake and they're bringing us really good models. I wouldn't say up to speed with companies like OpenAI, not there yet. But at one moment or another, maybe they will overtake OpenAI. We'll have to see. Here in blue, they talk about the history of Gemini, how they brought the long context window and the native multimodality, all of the good things that Gemini brought to the AI world, which is all true. And then here they say Gemini 3 is also much better at figuring out the context and intent behind your request. So it will kind of deeply analyze your prompt or request. We're gonna look into that. So it looks at your intentions. It seems something like that. So you get what you need with less prompting. It's amazing to think that in just 2 years, AI has evolved from simply reading text and images to reading the room. So it actually knows what you're looking for, even from the simplest prompt. At least this is what they're promising. Again, one of the confusing parts, but I get it. I get the differences of the platforms within Google. You can use Gemini 3 across the Gemini app, the AI Studio, Vertex AI, and then Google Anti-Gravity, the newest product. And we're going to use some of them, not all of them, when we run some of the tests. Again, they go on and on about Gemini 3. Again, this is a closed source model, so we don't get all of the details. Now here, as a state-of-the-art model, across the board, Gemini 3 Pro beats all other models in these evaluations, and it beats clearly GPT 5.1 in most of them, if not all of them. I'm just looking quickly, nearly most of them actually. So the software engineering bench still goes to actually OpenAI GPT-5 with a fractional difference. It's nearly nothing as a difference, but for the most part, basically this is going for actually Gemini 3. Okay, so this is, I think this is the vending bench I'm not sure if this is the one that Anthropic created, running a vending machine in their office, so it made more money apparently. I don't know if this is how accurate this kind of bench is, but across the board it's basically the best model out there now as per their evaluations here. Now if you carry on, you will go to where they talk about Gemini 3 DeepThink. This is the model. I never had access to it. I never subscribed into their $300 per month tier, but this is probably the one that you compare with the GPT 5.1 Pro. So Gemini 3 DeepThink mode pushes the boundaries of intelligence even further, delivering a step change in Gemini 3's reasoning and multimodal understanding and capabilities to help you solve even more complex problems. So this is the competitor of Pro. In testing Gemini 3 DeepThink, so it's just talking about the benchmark, and here you can see that they include GPT-5 Pro, and here actually Gemini 3 DeepThink beats Pro model of OpenAI in all of these humanities last exam, in all of these evaluations, GPQA, which is scientific knowledge, and ARC, AGI2, which is visual reasoning puzzles. So just a day after this, they dropped 5.1 Pro. I didn't see any evaluations yet, even by OpenAI themselves, but I reckon if they drop the model, it will beat Gemini DeepThink across all of them. We'll see. We'll have to see. I didn't see anything yet. And again, they talk more and more around it, its ability to really interpret images. We're going to test all of that. You can read all of this when I put the link for you in the description. Now, just for you, just to be aware and familiar with what I'm talking about when it comes to Google anti-gravity. So this is Google anti-gravity announcement. You can watch the video, you can go to the page, look into it, so you can read all about it. Now I've already installed it on my machine, and if I open it, it looks something like this, which is clearly a fork of VS Code. You can see here, I know it looks small on the screen, but this is where you enter your prompt. You can select the mode, you can select the model. Interestingly enough, they have here GPT OSS, which is the open source OpenAI model. They have also Sonnet 4.5 and Sonnet 4.5 thinking. So they have also Claude models here. They want to make it as a separate independent IDE, not only limited to Google models. So maybe on the surface, they look as enemies, but I think they're frenemies. They have kind of vested interest in each other. I mean, OpenAI and Google. Okay, let's head back to our work here. Now, if you open the standard Gemini application, you will be welcomed with a Gemini 3 message. So it tells you all about Gemini 3 Pro and what Gemini 3 actually can deliver. So expert coding and math help, next level research intelligence, deeper understanding across text, image, files, and videos. This is a big claim here. We can go test all of these things, even their research tools. That's too much for one video. And here what I'm gonna do is push each one in either Gemini or OpenAI and then show you directly the result. I will not show you any fluff in the middle. I'll give it my own ranking. You can rank it on a table if you want. I have my own table to kind of judge these models whenever I do a review. I have a selected bunch of prompts, and by the end I'll tell you my full impression. You can see these tests as they run. Hopefully this will be quick and you will get something out of it. Again, do not forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and let's get into testing. Okay, so for the first one with Gemini, I will run this in the Google AI Studio because it has a build feature and I can see the artifact here. I think I can have the same in OpenAI ChatGPT Pro. It is the same prompt. It is one of the things I always test with these models, is to work with HTML, CSS, to build a maze game. But again, that is interesting to see how these models really handle the basics of building these kind of visuals and build a game. So model to model, I always see an improvement. Let's see what happens with Gemini. So here I'm using Gemini 3 Pro Preview. Let's hit build. And at the same time, I will go to ChatGPT, and you can see here I'm on the 5.1 Pro, and let's hit go. If it doesn't run here, I will open it on Replit and show you the result for the GPT or both. And we have the result by Gemini. It is smart, so I can shuffle between really complex mazes. And whenever I want to see the solution, I can actually just hit solve it. Obviously, you can just scan this with your eyes, try to find the solution, and it will create the solution for me. It is 128 steps. It looks really complex. Again, this is what actually Gemini 3 created. It looks really neat. The user interface, super neat, honestly. So let's see what we got now from the OpenAI Pro model. Let me show you this. So if you see here on the top right side of the screen, the Pro model for GPT 5.1 has been running for 35, nearly 36 minutes for this easy and simple maze. Maybe this is not the stuff that you should run on the Pro model, but still, as a smart advanced model, you think it will reason itself through limiting the compute to the needed requirements that I set in the prompt, and not just going for nearly 40 minutes now waiting on it. I'm gonna give it until 40 minutes. If it doesn't deliver, I'm gonna consider it as a failure for the Pro model on this first challenge. And now I have, after 38 minutes exactly, what the Pro model delivered on the maze solver. And let's hit solve and see what it does. Honestly, it's disappointing. Yes, it does things right. I think it's an overkill. And what it didn't do while Gemini 3 did it, again, this is much more powerful than Gemini 3 as a model, is that I can actually refresh the maze. So here probably I'm gonna have to refresh the whole page to get a new maze. Yeah, exactly. For running for 38 minutes, definitely your expectation is much higher than what we have on the screen. Okay, now let's go for the second test. Here, I basically got a random internet-based app sketch. So someone did the sketch and I just got it from Google Images, threw it in, and asked both Gemini 3, again we're not comparing, and the GPT 5.1 Pro to recreate it. And let's see the results that we've got. So again, on Gemini, I ran this on the AI Studio, and as part of my request was to kind of explain the sections. Again, because I ran it in the AI Studio, it didn't give that, but it actually gave kind of a design implementation notes, which is similar to what I asked for, and it delivered on the UI. Now, it's not perfect. Let me put it in full screen. You can see definitely this is looking like an Android device, and that's very specific in the prompt. The clock here, which I assume based on the sketches is a clock where you can set the tasks, doesn't really look good. But again, this is a clock. It's better than nothing. We'll hit next. So here you can see there's an event upcoming. You can find events, so it's scouting for events. Again, you can click this one, you can see the alarm. So literally replicating exactly what the sketch has, which is interesting. Okay, what can we do here? So it kept it exactly to the actual sketch. It didn't innovate with it. I didn't ask for that, by the way, so to be fair. And I'm stuck in the last screen. So it just showed me, as I asked, the 3 screens. The clock isn't perfect. Now it's ringing. I don't know. For the hype around Gemini 3, you'd expect it to figure this part out better. Okay, so this is what we've got from the Pro model from GPT 5.1 when we gave it the same prompt and the same sketch. So again, the event boss type of app. We hit get started. You can here find an event. You can click at an event. You can actually snooze or dismiss the alarm. You can see, okay, here the call that we got. Again, both of them exactly followed the prompt. So that's interesting. Hit dismiss, nothing happening here. We'll have to go back and just look at it. Find event, nothing happens here. I honestly think as well this is a disappointing result for the Pro model. Again, might not be the thing for a Pro model. So probably Pro is for pure reasoning, but you would expect it to do a little bit more. And again, I'm not running this as an artifact on ChatGPT. This is running on Replit. This is Replit that you're seeing. So I just took all the code that I got from the Pro model and just applied it here. The prompt, yes, was simple, might be limiting. But again, one of the things I look at here is what the model does with it. So we've at least neither, I would say, aced it, but clearly what the Gemini 3 model did with it is much better than this. That was running in the AI Studio environment, but this is also running in the Replit environment, which is a sophisticated environment. You can do a lot with it. Well, so this is it for this app. Let's go to the next test. So for the third test, again, this is a creativity test where we ask the model to create a story for us, or micro story. So just quickly to read this short prompt, write a 6-line micro story, 80 to 90 words total. The first letters of the 6 lines in order must spell agents. Include 1, a concrete physical object, 2, one sentence that is an imperative command, and third is one sound. So we'll have to read it here, and then we'll go to the Pro model on how it did it. You'd expect the Pro model to be better. Again, I'm not comparing, but also things are not looking good for the Pro model, to be honest. So maybe I need to reconsider the Pro on ChatGPT and maybe think of moving to Gemini. That's a big decision that I have to contemplate. So let's read this micro story. A heavy brass key sat on the scratched mahogany desk, reflecting the monitor's blue light. Grinding metal noises erupted from the server room down the hall, shattering the quiet. Evidence of the breach was already scrolling rapidly across the main terminal screen. Nobody dared to breathe as the security system cycled through its reboot sequence. Take the hard drive immediately and leave via the fire escape without looking back. Smoke began to curl under the doorframe, smelling of ozone and burnt plastic. Okay, so let's do this. So we have A, G, N, T, and the last one is S. So we have the agents done. I think the sound is there, and also the imperative command is there. So it did it. Interesting. It's not a story, I would say, at all, but it's nice description of a scene. So let's see what Pro gave us. So this is what we got from the Pro model. Across the conference table, an old stapler waits like a tiny metal sentinel. Gray rain stripes the windows while our prototype Android logs every tremor in my voice. Encrypt the transcript before the board realizes the machine has started asking its own questions. So this is a machine that's becoming alive, kind of thing. Narrow status lights blink and one flickers twice, emitting a soft electronic chirp. They told us it would optimize the risk, yet the forecasts keep omitting human survival curves. Still, someone in procurement signs the upgrade, pen scratching louder than the rain outside. So again, here we have A, G, E, N, and then we have the T. We have also the imperative command, and we have the physical object. Okay, I think both got a really good mark. I think the Pro model kind of wrapped it up a little bit at the end. It used my background in the story. Okay, that's something else. So it gets a little bit more, again, not to the level that you'd expect, especially that the Pro model had to think for 13 minutes to give these 6 lines. Okay, for this test, honestly, I don't know how to judge it, if it's fair for either models, but what I've done here is I got this kind of doctor note for a radiology off the internet, and I asked both models to try to read the doctor handwriting. And again, this is, even AI can't do this, I think. No machine learning, no AI, no technology we achieved till the day can read a doctor note. It's only the radiology person, the human, can maybe decipher this, and maybe a pharmacist. No one else, no technology can do that. But still, I wanted to, for fun, challenge the models and see what we get. Because again, Gemini claim they're so good with images. This is off the top here. I don't think it will get anything. We'll just check. We might be wrong. And honestly, I don't have a real way to say it's right or wrong, but I'll just look at what both gave and we see what's more logical. So let's start with Gemini. Transcription of radiology request. Okay, patient details, name initials, GRL, okay, with a question mark here. Ward and department, heal, possibly HAME, okay, so it's not sure about it. Requested examination, USS ABD, which is ultrasound to the abdomen. Interesting. So it got at least what's required. Doctor, clinical notes, clinical history, pale, dry. Okay, so this is part of, I think, the form. Long time. Okay, so it was able to get some of it. Specific clinical queries, history of hypoc pain. Okay, examination suggested. Radial to look for flu. So it's not clear on that. The handwriting in the clinical history and the examination suggested sections is highly ambiguous. The transcription above reflects the literal character strokes visible in the image. Okay, so what it was able to tell, it told everything else. It says it was very hard to actually decipher and predict. And now for the Pro model, in nutshell, I will not put time on it. Again, it struggled to read things into it. Actually, it failed once. I had to repeat it. It ran for another 15 minutes. So, and it gave the same result that Gemini gave. So nothing really clear, didn't try to even estimate or predict or assume what is coming out of this prescription for the radiology. One last test that I did, and this last test is actually not fair to OpenAI and ChatGPT. I still ran it just in case I missed an update in 5.1, but I was right. This is nothing that the model is capable with. Now, because Gemini 3 was promising its ability to analyze video, I actually created a prompt where I give one of my previous videos, I ask it to analyze it, tell me what I can improve. This is super important for me and so many people in different domains to get an AI model to really analyze a video. So my intention is, for example, I do this video, it doesn't do well. I want the AI model to analyze the screens and the shots I have in my video, tell me what I'm doing right or wrong based on my voice, tone of voice, body language, the actual transcription of what I talk about, and get some feedback. So automatically the Pro model, it tried, but fundamentally it told me it cannot actually see or hear the YouTube video, but it gave me high level kind of priorities, strategies, which doesn't really help me. Now, if we go to the Gemini app, here it's a different story. So here's your performance audit. So again, it looked at my video and it's now giving me a specific feedback on my actual video. So strength, presence, and delivery. You open with a clear business focus problem. Okay, reduce time researching. So this is good. Strategic signposting. You effectively transition from the intro to the audit phase using phrases like, let's give it a quick scan. Keeps the viewer oriented. Okay. Genuine enthusiasm. I mean, this is part I always question that I have or that I emit to my audience. But honestly, this is the best. Okay, so just it picks up on some terms and says, okay, you're doing that right. Clear articulation, at least it's able to analyze the video. I mean, for me, this is a start. It might not be perfect. At some point in the future, it might be so accurate that it really helps me become better in the things I do on my content. Reading, eye contact. So again, the kind of thing that I do now, saying I'm spending sometimes off the eye contact with the viewer, and I'm just reading off the screen, which is part of what I do in my channel. But again, it's a really good feedback, honestly, something I don't think about a lot. Brand disconnect, that's interesting. So the voice that comes up is actually out in the outro. It's my daughter's voice I have here, and it says here you're saying subscribe to Daddy's channel, and this clashes heavily with your Fortune 500 director and top 1% AI literacy kind of brand. Again, that's just an outro for my daughter. It didn't get that. Monotone lists. Okay, you read through stories 4, 5, 6, etc. Your pitch flattens. So I need to actually play with my voice. So that's a really good and I think accurate feedback. Verbal fillers, you rely on and so clutches when transitioning between screen elements. Again, I do these things off the cuff. I don't have the time to prepare and script and read. Unfortunately, I enjoy it. I love that people still watch it. But yes, that's true as well. And amazing feedback. Kudos for Gemini. This is really a good success when it comes to something that I would really benefit from using Gemini for analyzing my video and my content and the way I deliver things to the audience. Lastly, body language, the lens rule. So again, it's talking about me looking straight into the lens more and more. Active listening face. When agent is generating, avoid waiting face. So, okay, either cut this footage or narrate your anticipation actively. So no dead time, basically. Again, all good advice. It actually, from the sounds of it, it looked into the video, it watched it, and actually it gave me the feedback that I'm looking for. So this is amazing success for Gemini for this test. Now, before I close, let me show you, this is where I keep all of these test prompts. I filter some of them depending on the review. Again, here, we are not comparing, but I am doing these tests simultaneously. But when I look at the Gemini 3, I actually compare it to something like GPT 5.1, thinking maybe, but not Pro. And when I think about the Pro, I actually put it at a higher benchmark, higher expectation. So before I give you my final feedback, I give the Gemini 6.4 out of 10. Again, for these tests and the limitations and the circumstances I explained. So if you jump to this section and you're angry and you're red-faced and you want to say a comment here, before you do that, just watch the video and understand that I'm, again, doing this against certain assumptions and assertions that Google made. And for the Pro, considering it's a Pro model, considering the long times I've waited to get an answer, I give it a 3.6 out of 10. Not necessarily bad, I'm going to still use it, but I'd expect better. I mean, I'd expect better in certain areas that honestly a little bit could be a 5.1 thing that they might rectify, because I didn't notice this happening in the past. Still little bit on the disappointed side. Gemini is amazing, and probably I'm gonna piss off lots of people. I see all of that excitement online. I don't see what is exciting about it. And I see people saying the wall is not there. I don't know if it's me being crazy or I'm outside this kind of excitement mentality. I love AI and these models and I use them every day, but I don't think Gemini 3 brought something out of this world, brought something that shatters the competition. At least maybe this was what these AI labs got us to be used to. Whenever they drop something, usually the gap between what they deliver and the previous model is huge. Maybe that's not the case now. They're just fighting for the inches, so it's nice. I'll have to test it with anti-gravity. Some people claim in anti-gravity as their own IDE. The model operates totally differently, especially when it comes to code. Maybe that's something to explore. It's nice, it's good. I would probably download the Gemini CLI, which I never used so far, and then code with it like I do with Codex and Claude, and maybe change my feedback and put a comment in the comment section. But as of now, it's an improved model, good model, clearly better than Gemini 2.5, but not that better in my opinion. Now for the Pro, for the GPT 5.1 Pro, disappointing honestly. The model runs for around 40 minutes for something that shouldn't go that long, that Gemini really aced from the first shot. You'd expect a Pro model to kind of reason around the time that it needs to put as effort to solve a problem. It didn't feel that in the past it did this, honestly. I use Pro model a lot since I subscribed for the Pro tier membership. I use it a lot just to get certain things done, especially in work and making decisions around my channel and the content and the ideation. It's a good model, no question about that. But I never felt that it just runs without reason. So if it's not so complex, it will run more than the normal model, more than the thinking model, but it will deliver results quicker than if a problem is too complex. Today, for, in my opinion, simpler problems, building an HTML and the CSS code to build a simple maze that gets to be solved, that Gemini did in a couple of minutes, it took it 40 minutes to build as a Pro model. So that's honestly a little bit of a disappointment. So overall, I gave the Pro model 3.6 out of 10. Again, I look at it, you know, this is the pedestal, this is the top model out there, so I will be harsher with my ranking of it, and the same goes for Gemini. So Gemini is a very good model, but Pro is a little bit on the disappointing side, I would say. Gemini is interesting, but I don't see the breakthrough that people are talking about online as part of the hype. So hopefully you enjoyed this episode. Maybe I didn't give you what you wanted. This is my honest opinion through my simple and honest testing of these models. It was again leaning more to the Gemini model when I tested, but it revealed certain things in the GPT 5.1 Pro model. If you disagree or agree with me in any of my evaluations, write me a comment in the comment section. If you see effort in the episode or you enjoyed it, please hit that like button. And if you consider watching more of my content in the future and you want to get it on time when I deliver it, hit that subscribe button. And with this, thank you for watching and goodbye.
Subscribe to Daddy's channel. Give me the mic.